Welcome to Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. My name is Doug, and today we are in the art room, and we're going to create a Valentine's Day wreath, and you don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back. So let's talk about some of the supplies that you're going to need if you want to create this Valentine's Day wreath. Now, if you remember our wreath from last year, I used a lot of tulle. This year I'm doing something a little bit different. So I have this grapevine wreath that's heart-shaped, looks like this. This measures 12 inches. Now, if you're doing a wreath for your front door, you really want to think about the size. Think about all the elements you're going to be adding to this wreath, because if you think, oh, well, I'm going to need a really large wreath for my front door, so I'm going to get a really large frame. Well, the stuff you put on there is going to, don't forget, it's going to make it even look larger. So you want to keep that in mind. Make sure it's a good size for your door. All right, so I have my grapevine wreath here, and looking at it, I think it looks in good shape. It does not come with a hook, so I'm going to have to probably add a hook to that. But let's talk about some of the supplies that you're going to need. Okay, so some of the supplies you're going to need to create our wreath is an assortment of ribbon. I'm going to be using a pink polka dot here, a pink solid, a gray stripe, and then this one is, it's thinner, but it has these little hearts on there, these glittery hearts, as you can see. Now, I did not want to use red. I want to go with a pink tone, so that's why I'm using the pinks and the grays. Now, I'm going to be using these picks here. Now, these picks kind of represent winter and a little bit going into spring. So I have this silvery pick of these. Look at this. So it looks really pretty. It's the silvery color, has some glitter to it. This one is some baby breath. So that's kind of bringing in the spring. And then I got these colored pink picks here that have some sparkle to it. So these are the picks that I'm going to be using to create this look. So this is the look that I'm going for right here. So as you can see with them all together, how it's going to look. And I'm going to be adding it to that heart. All right, so what I decided to do is the following. You can see my grapevine wreath of my heart right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have this spray going up here, and then this one coming down here, and we're going to add a bow right about here. All right, so it's going to look something like that. I was indecisive. I was thinking about kind of putting it like this too, which is something I still might do. I haven't decided really, but I'm just poking this in here now just so you can see the different looks. This one's like this. I kind of like that, but I kind of like this too, going sideways. So, but I think my gut feeling is to go this way. So that's how I'm going to do this. All right. So another thing you're going to need is scissors, of course, and I have this easy bow maker that just makes bows a lot easier. So the fun thing about making wreaths is that you create it. You know, you get to create it how you want it. So if you want to change the style of yours or change how the total look, that's of course up to you. So these picks, all these picks I got off of Amazon, but you can find picks similar to these at craft stores like Michael's. But I just found it when I was doing my online shopping. I just saw these and I thought, oh, this will be great. This will work. So we're also going to need, of course, a hot glue gun. And so I'm going to have my picks. It's really easy. You just kind of place it how you want to place it. I'm going to just make sure everything is attached well. You can use pipe cleaners to do that, like this. You can use pipe cleaners. You can use floral wire, which is what I'm going to be using to attach this, and of course hot glue. So I'm going to get the rest of my supplies and we're going to start putting this together. I got some floral wire. Just going to snip a little piece off. So of course you're going to need some wire cutters. And I'm going to take a look at my arrangement. These picks came really small. I thought it was going to have a longer stem. So I'm going to start with the silver in the background. And then I'm going to put the baby breath in front. All right, so I'm going to start with that. I'm going to use my floral wire. And of course, just wrap it around a few times how you think you want it. All right. I think that looks good. And what I love about these picks is then you can form it how you want. All right, but that looks good. I have a little excess, so let me cut off the excess. My wire cutters. Having the correct tools is so important when you're doing jobs like this. All right, so here are my shorter stems. So I'm going to poke that through the wire down here, but I want one on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some more floral wire. Now, what color floral wire? It's really up to you. If you wanted something to match what your picks look like, that would be, of course, highly suggested. I just have this green here, which even that this is silver, I think it's going to suffice. Here's my pick. Looks great. You know, like I said, you can form it how you want, but I like how that looks. I'm going to make sure that my second one looks approximately the same. And then we're going to add it to our heart. Okay, so I wanted to show you quickly approximately what it's going to look like. You can see how much bigger now the wreath is going to be on the door because of the sides here, how it's going to be sticking out. So we're going to work on the bow now. Okay, so we're going to start working on our ribbon. Now with this Easy Bow Maker, it just makes bows a lot easier. Hence the name Easy Bow Maker. But you have to decide on your ribbon, what ribbon you're going to be using. I have, these two are 2.5 inches wide. And this one is only one-sided. This pink one here is double-sided, so it really doesn't matter how you place it in, but that's why we're using this pink one first. And notice that when you place your ribbon on the spool here of your Easy Bow Maker, you want to make sure that the ribbon is going outward, okay? You don't want the ribbon coming inward because it's going to be a lot harder to work with. So the ribbon's going outward, and I'm going to make sure that my tail is around 10 inches long. All right. And the way I put it between these two spools here, for a double-sided one, it doesn't really matter. But when you have a single-sided like this, then it does matter. And I'll show you that in a second. So we're going to make our bow. And notice I'm pulling it from here. And I'm going to do 5 inches wide. The reason why I'm doing 5 inches is because you want to think about your wreath. You want to think about how large your wreath is. If you have a really, really big wreath, then yeah, you could do bigger bows. But if you have a smaller wreath, you don't want to make a huge bow on it because it's going to take away from your wreath. All right, you don't want, unless that's the look you're going for. But with mine here, with this heart and the picks on the side, I think 5 inches is going to be perfect. So I'm going to make my bow, and I'm putting it between these two spools. Now notice when I'm putting it through, I'm putting it with the sides facing down, okay? Now with the double-sided, it doesn't really matter so much that way, but when you're working with a one-sided, then yeah, that does matter, okay? And so I'm putting that in 5 inches. I'm going to bring it over to this side. I'm going to do 5 inches, bring it over, okay? Now I have my two bows here, okay? Depending on how many bows you want to do, then you can continue making your bows using this one. So for this, I'm going to be doing 2 pinks, and then I'm going to start adding my other ones. So I came over to this side. I'm going to make my bow again. I'm going to make it the same width on this. Same width, so 5 inches. Holding it down in the middle, bringing it through the 2 spools right here. 5 inches again on that side. This is the time you want to make sure that they're lined up well. You don't have to fluff anything out right now. You're just making sure everything is measured and it's pretty much the same. All right, so since this is 10 inches, approximately 10 inches, I'm going to make this side the same thing. So get your scissors and you're going to cut it. Now, you can begin already adding the edges to your ribbon at the end of your tail here. So I'm going to be doing on the 2.5 inches, I'm going to be doing ducktails. And how you do ducktails is you fold the ribbon in half, and at a 45-degree angle, you're going to just snip it. And you can see how it makes this ducktail right here. I call it ducktails. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Fold it in half, just like that. You want to make sure it's folded exactly. And then 45-degree angle, open it up, and there you go. You have your ducktail. All right. So you want to do that now instead of later. It's just easier that way. So now I am done with this pink. I'm going to put that off to the side. And I'm going to work on my second one. Now my second one is I'm going to be using this pink polka dot one. Okay. So if you want, you can now do the ducktails on just that one side, just like that. Or you can wait till you put your ribbon. Depends on how you want to do it. Remember, when you put your ribbon on the spool, it needs to go outward like that. And then we're going to do the same exact thing. All right. I'm going to move the camera so you can kind of see this more up close. Okay, so you want to make sure that your tail is about the same. And now this is the part. See the 2 sides here? You don't want to put it in like this. You want to put it in like that. All right, so just like that, make sure that this is approximately the same. It could be just maybe a tiny bit shorter, just a tiny bit, like, I don't know if you can see that, just a tiny bit. All right, and let's make our bow. Okay, notice how this is pulling outwards like that, like I said. And so we're going to make our bow. I'm going to put it this way, sorry. Put it this way. And then make our bow. And then bring it through, and watch how I bring it through. It's going downward, just like that. All right? Because if you don't do it that way, and I'm going to pull it because I want it to be the same size, okay? If you don't do that, and see how this is now at the bottom? You see how this is now at the bottom? This is the bad side, if you want to call it the bad side. And I'm going to bring it through here. Once again, going like this instead of like that, because look what happens if we do that. See, it's going to be up. You want it to go down. All right, same width, 5 inches approximately. Press down. Like I said, this is not the time. I'm going to pull this just a little bit. This is not the time to fluff your bow. You're just placing it down. All right. And I got to show you something too. So right here is where I'm going to snip. I'm only doing one of these. So I'm going to snip the tail, but then I'm going to do that ducktail. All right. Very nice. Hopefully you're getting an idea about how this goes. And like I said, with this easy bow maker, It just makes it so much easier than if you try to do it by hand. All right. Next, I'm going to put this away. I'm done with this one now. Next, I'm going to add my gray stripe. Now, the reason why I chose gray is because of the silver, or the gray that is in the, this one doesn't have a thing, so I'm going to do that. The silver that's in the pine stem. All right, same thing. Now this has a bad side and a good side. Same thing, I'm going to put it through here. This one is not 2.5 inches, so I'm going to show you at the end what I'm going to do with the tail on that. But let's just do this, bring this more. I want this tail to be shorter than these two. And I'm going to make my bow here. Notice the bad is underneath. But when I put it through, you want to go this way. All right. And this one I'm going to make just a little bit smaller. So like almost like 4 inch or 4.5 inches, really. All right. So the other one's 5. This one's going to be like 4.5 inches. And when you put this through on this side, the bad side here needs to be showing face up, because when you do your bow like that, see, then you can see the striped, and that's what you want. All right, let me check the length. Okay, I'm going to cut it just like this for now. Take this off. I only need one of those. And notice how full this is already getting. You can see how thick. That's why this bow maker it comes in super handy. All right, so this one is smaller. Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to do just a cut, a side cut. And of course, you want it to be approximately the same. So I'm going to approximate here. One like this. All right. So now I got my stripe. Okay, so this is my last one. This is the little heart swirls. I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to have it approximately the same length as the gray. Now this is a good side, bad side one, so keep that in mind when you do this. I'm going to do side cut and a side cut here. Perfect. And now I'm going to show you when we take it off. All right. So here, you want to go at the very bottom, hold it together. You can get, let me get my pipe cleaner. Okay, I got a pipe cleaner here. You can also use floral wire, and you want to put it right underneath, and you want to lift it slightly, and you're going to put it at an angle going through the two dowels here. And you're going to bring this over. And we're going to do a quick little twist. Just so it stays together. And we pull it out. And we're going to worry about all that fluffing and everything later. But what you want to do is really make this tight after you pull it out. Don't make it so tight when it's still in here, because it might, you need some room to play around with it. So don't make it so tight. But once you pull it out, and you can kind of see how it looks, that you're happy with it. Like, see, this one pulled a little bit. I'm going to pull it back just out just a little bit. That's why it's good to have a little of that slack. All right. Okay, that looks good. All right. I'm going to add the picks to my wreath here. Now, in this grapevine wreath, you could kind of see they went with some wire holding it together, which is great because that's going to help me out. I'm going to stick it through the wire, poke that through there. All right, so notice where mine is. It's like really close to the bottom of that heart, okay? And you may want to add a little hot glue, like maybe over here. We'll see if we need to. Right now, this is holding nicely. I am going to cut off this extra. This is my wire cutter. Don't use your regular scissors for this because you'll ruin your regular scissors. I'll never forget when my mom used to sew and I used to use her scissors to cut paper. She used to get so mad and I never understood why. But now that I'm older, I totally know why. Because it can ruin the scissors. Okay, let me try to cut this real quick. I might have to get my other wire. Let me get my other wire cutters. And these are my heavy duty wire cutters. Notice the difference. All right, so that looks good. Now with this, I'm going to put this through. Same thing. Okay, so I got the second one through. Going to use my cutters here. Ooh. Yeah, these are a lot better than these. All right. If you notice, I like to clean up as I go. I think that just helps, so it keeps things out of the way. All right, so there is my other side of the heart. Take a look. We're going to need a little glue. I might add a little glue. I think I am right here behind this one and a little bit over here. I'm going to add a little glue back in here. A little bit of glue over here. This one looks pretty good though. Just add a little bit. Just a little bit of glue there. Make sure it's holding. All right, it's looking good. Okay, now I have my bow. Now with the bow, as you can see the difference? Like, can you see the size? The size was just right. See this part right here? You want to cover that middle part up. So a couple of choices. I can do the gray stripe, or I can do this one. I'll probably do this one because it's not going to show that much. So I'm going to get a piece that's around 15 inches long, just to be sure. Let's see, 15 inches. Okay, so I'm going to put this like in the middle, as you can see. It's going to tie it in the back. Make sure it's tight. Probably do 2 knots. See how it looks. Yep, that looks pretty good. Yep, okay. So that looks good. I'm going to cut off the excess. Have a little bit showing, that's okay. Okay, so now I'm going to get that wire again. And I'm going to put it through the grapevine wreath at the bottom here. Now, here comes the fluffing part. So you just want to fluff the bows, form it how you want. So as you can see, it covers anything at the bottom that you know. And notice that this is wire ribbon, so you can kind of form it how you want. Well, there you go. I think it looks really cute, and it's gonna look great on my front door, and we're getting ready to decorate for Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for joining us on Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas today. Remember, if you want that homey vibe, you need to subscribe. And please give this video a like. Until next time, my friends, happy healthy living. Bye-bye.